What's up, robots? Little Big Robots back with another video. Today I'm going to be doing something a little different, but not 100% different from my channel. Anyway, today I'm going to be looking at these comic books. This is going to be a lot of fun. Before I get started, if you want to subscribe, I do 2 videos per week about robots, robot-related stuff, mecha, lots of mecha stuff, occasional action dolls and collectibles and stuff, but so subscribe, usually up on Wednesdays and Saturdays. I have all sorts of cool stuff coming in, and leave a comment. I love talking to people in the comments and stuff. Today I wanted to talk to you about this comic book that was written by Tom Frank. I came across Tom in I wanted to say it was a pair of interviews, but I know at least one interview on the Magnificent World of Toys YouTube channel. I'll be linking that in the description. It's a great channel. They've done a lot of cool interviews with like collectors and showing off collections and stuff. And Tom has a great interview on there. It's really interesting, talking about great robots, giant robots stuff. If you know basically Shogun Warriors back in the day, if you're a kid of the 70s and 80s and you had a Shogun Warrior, which is today that they call him Mazinger Z. I think they're all related. I'm still learning all that stuff. I grew up on it, of course. I had some when I was a kid. Tom did as well, and he has this magnificent collection, amazing collection, and is also doing his own custom original figure, and decided to make a series of comic books. I don't know if it's continuing after this. I'm pretty sure it is. I'll have to ask Tom because I follow him on Instagram, and all these links will be in the description, by the way. But decided to make his own lore because at the kind of collectible vinyl shows and stuff like that, if you go to like collectible toys shows, they often have really cool toys but don't have really a lore about them. They're just a cool design. So he wanted to make a lore, like a whole story about it. And this is the series of comics. 3 issues are out right now. I ordered them. I'll have the link where to order them online. And I'm going to show you some of the art and some of my favorite parts, but I have it earmarked here so I can show parts that aren't real spoilery. It's not a super spoilery series, but still you might want to be interested in the stories. And I don't want to I don't want to just read the whole comic in front of you because I want you to go buy it. Basically, it's called Jumbo Titan X. This is Jumbo Titan X. These are the 2 protagonists, the 2 pilots. He's kind of the smart aleck kid. He's kind of the I think the more of the corporate stooge kind of type. If I get that wrong, the type's wrong, let me know. I believe this is all drawn, inked, and lettered and everything by Tom. Tom, if you happen to be watching this, or I'll ask you on Instagram or something, I'm pretty sure you do all this. There's a cool intro page and everything that tells you about that, written from Tom, kind of like the old letters pages. By the way, there is his Instagram and Twitter. Go follow him there. And of course I have the mower right outside. Okay, I think we're safe now. But anyway, everything hand done by it. He talks about in that little introduction about how digital art has really helped a lot, and I completely see that it can color and stuff for you for indie developers or indie writers and artists and stuff. It's really great. I have to say, I mean this in the most complimentary way possible, and this series feels just like you would expect a fan creation to feel. It has that kind of rough look to it. It's not perfect all the time. The writing is not perfect all the time. But what's really good about it, I think, is that he's going for it, and his spirit, really, his love for the giant robots, the great robot stuff, it really comes through in this. It's a really fun read. And there's actually, and I'd have to say, there's a substantial amount of text. A lot of times when you get into comics, it's really cool. I like the art, of course, but you want a good story, and this definitely has a good story to it. So that's one of the splash pages right at the very beginning. It's like the 2nd or 3rd page. So that gives you an idea of what's going on there. The colors are great. The paper, by the way, is really nice and thick. And it's a real high quality feeling. This is almost like a cardstock, the cover, so that means it'll last a little while. That's really cool. Tom's also doing like a little, it's not on the back here, a toy version of his Jumbo Titan here He's going to be at, there's a Toy Fest coming up here in California that I might be able to make it to. I might have to move in that time period, but if not, he's making a soft vinyl version of that. So the story goes on, and the kid's I don't want to spoil anything really here. It's not a spoiler, but I want you to read the comic. There's some great artwork here. The kid, one of the kind of smart aleck protagonists, this kid right here, is like really good at video games, and is famous for it. I guess he's an esports guy or whatever. And here in this section, he's actually fighting against the other protagonist, the other guy here, who is kind of like the corporate guy who's been trained through the corporation. And so you got the brash young upstart, coming up against the quote unquote more experienced pilot, and it'll kind of show you what we're going for here. Tom in real life is a wrestler, or was a wrestler. I guess he doesn't wrestle anymore. You'd have to tell me so. But that really inspires a lot of his artwork and a lot of the moves and stuff. It's really fun because the jumbo robot, the giant robot kind of thing with, Mazinger Z and all that stuff like that, Shogun Warriors, all that, it seemed really goofy, but underneath it all, there really was a very cool, there really is, I should say, because it's still a thing, a very cool, I don't know, kind of like an action movie inspiration. Like it had a lot of really outrageous, laser beams and stuff like that, but then sometimes they would grapple and fight with just their fists and stuff, so it's a really, really cool to see that going on. So here's I like that a lot. See, he's shooting out his arm and it's showing different kinds. This is really cool too. I don't know what brought this on, but this is like an interior of the bot, which is something that is always cool to have. Later you might get that in a model kit or something. So there's some just lots of neat, real neat art. The second issue, all I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this back page because I thought this was really, really interesting. What's really clever about this, and I don't know if Tom intended this or not, I'm sure he did because he seems like a smart fella. This looks like a toy shelf with all the different kinds of giant robots you can get, like all the different, the enemy characters and stuff. Watch that documentary, you'll see it, and you'll see exactly what he's going for here. And you're like, oh, that's a cool toy shelf. You don't really notice that if you get close, there's like a little, almost like a fencing, there's this little cart thing that is, look at that little tiny person there. So that is an actual scene when they're overlooking an army of different robots to pick from, and each one is, this really pulls at my heartstrings because when I was a kid I would just sit around. I've been an artist all my life, and I would sit around and just draw different robots and monsters and stuff, and you don't really see as much of this anymore, of this imaginative design. A lot of robots in mecha these days are quote unquote realistic. They're very gritty and stuff like that. And I think there's still a ton of room, if not, most of the room for big, bright, colorful, wacky, fun creations like that. So the story goes on. Basically, there's an alien invasion. I'm going to break any of the, I'm not going to break any spoilers here or whatever. And this is a story about how the Earth and the Earth scientists are attempting to get ready and start to repel the alien invasion. But there's really some interesting quirks in here. Some of the characters are really, let me get a picture here, my first image. There's some interesting character development stuff. Like here, I thought this was really cool, is Tom seems to be pulling from, I'll show you these 2 pages, it's not really spoilery, pulling from his wrestling years. The art is really, really cool there. It's kind of giving you some really nice scenes. Action scenes there. Action is funny in a comic because a lot of people think it has to be super duper, every little part has to be. No, you just have to kind of illustrate the gist of what's happening, and it really works here, and it gives you kind of an indication into what's behind the character's motives. There's our little smart aleck gamer kid right here. He's getting his autograph there, so that's pretty cool. So he kind of goes in the past. This was another splash page I wanted to share. This would make a great poster. This is fantastic. It's fantastic. It's not really a spoiler, I don't think, so don't worry there. They're preparing the arm that's lifting there. That's another thing about giant robot kind of stuff, like these big Mazinger kind of, style, what me and a lot of you out there got used to as the Shogun Warriors style, is that they seem very organic and curvy and stuff like that, but really it's just the shape of the armor on the inside, just like any inner frame on a mech or whatever, on a Gundam kit or something. You get these really fantastic technological details. It's really, really cool. Let me see if I can show you anything else before. I don't really want to. But this will give you an idea, though, of what he's looking at. There's the soft vinyl toy he's working on, 8 inches, which is, is pretty good size. Follow him on Instagram and stuff like that. And hopefully if I make it to that toy store, toy convention, I can say hi to him. I didn't show you the cover for the second one. The cover for the second one's fantastic. I like how old school it is, where the controls are just like that. They're not... these days it's so like... They're basically like if you watch a Gundam anime, for example. If you watched, what was it, Hathaway? What was the recent one that was in the theaters? Horribly boring, horribly boring, but the combat was incredible, and they were sitting in a chair like that, like a pilot's chair, but they had basically a surround image, so it looked like they were kind of floating in space so they could see around them. But they're just doing a modern version of this. This is just the same take we've always had. Hooks into your head, you got pilot's buttons and big thick switches and stuff and a few screens, but you've got a big piece of, plexiglass in front of you so you can see out. I like how modern mecha is just kind of doing a modern version of this same thing. Like, this is very retro looking or whatever, but this is really, really cool. It's actually, if you think about it, the switches and the buttons like that could take a beating, possibly more than just an all digital system, so it's a really interesting, I know he's going for kind of like an older thing here, but would giant robots really be that far? I mean, maybe they would just be a big controller and you sit there with plugs in your head. I don't know. So it's a fun series. I can't remember how much I paid for each of them. I got all 3 of them. It took a little bit to get to me. I was a little bit impatient. They took quite a while, I thought, just for some comic books, but that's not Tom's fault. That's the distributor. But other than that, they came in, they were nice and sealed. They had a nice piece of stiff cardboard. No damage whatsoever. Really fun reads. I actually really enjoyed these. There was a lot of meatiness to it. I'm trying to see if I can show you something. I mean, just like here, there's plenty to read, and that nice splash page. It's not really a spoiler. Fantastic. I mean, so there's a lot of really old school kind of comic appeal to these, and I hope he continues to go. Hope he continues to go on with the series. I'm really enjoying it. What I could use now is maybe some posters of these things, and I want to see if I can pick up. If I can't make it to the con, hoping I can pick up one of these. I would love to do a custom paint job on one of those, if that's cool. But anyway, fantastic. Really, really fun series. Go check them out if you can. I'll leave all the links in the description. There's Jumbo Titan X. Pretty cool, huh? Talk to you later. Bye-bye.